I'm here with Simon Nixon, who is a Hastings District Councillor. Kia ora, Simon, and thanks for joining me.
Good morning, Andrew. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you, Simon. You've just yesterday you had a meeting, one of your council meetings, which one of the items that you addressed was the issue of Category 3 cyclone property owners who the council has now is assessing a proposal or had a proposal before them that these property owners may have to be liable for some of the costs of demolishing their houses. The council decided to, if you like, want for a better term, kick it to touch at this stage and get more information. Can you tell me about the meeting, how you felt it went, and the final decision?
Well, I started off when I spoke at the meeting saying I sort of felt I'd been a bit ambushed, actually. And this is because we'd just come back from the Christmas break. This was our first council meeting for the year. And suddenly we had a very complicated proposal put in front of us, which it was backed up with a workshop a bit earlier in the day. But I still felt we didn't really have all the information we needed to make a wise decision.
Uh,
The issue here is that whilst some people may have done very well out of it, which is what the background papers suggested, the concern is a lot of people are struggling out there, and that needed to be taken into account in our deliberation.
yeah. So this we're talking about people who their houses have been classed as category 3, so they can't go back to their houses. Some of them have been paid out by insurance, but now the council, having earlier agreed to cover all the costs of the demolition, are now saying that these people may have to be liable for some of it. And I think so the term used by some councillors yesterday was they didn't want there to be double dipping. There was quite sort of emotional testimony given by one of the people, Dan Gale, who said that people aren't there are no winners in this, and people aren't actually going to be making any money. Did that open your eyes? His testimony, what he said?
I found his testimony very influencing, actually. I went in there with a pretty open mind. I couldn't really quite decide how I was going to approach the issue. But after I heard Dan, I felt that he had some very good points, but we had not addressed these in the material that we'd been given. And whereas some people may be double dipping, and I accept that's a possibility, and I certainly don't want to impose unnecessary costs on ratepayers, by the same token, there are a lot of people who are on the edge that they're probably still paying their mortgages off. They're now having to pay rent. They don't have a house for the moment. And I felt it didn't have enough flexibility in it to address those sort of issues.
Because we're talking about $2 million, and it won't be the full cost of the demolition. It will be contributing to some of it because the national government has said that they will not pay for that. So it has been left to ratepayers to pay for it. What do you see the solution eventually being?
Well, for a start, I'd like a more flexible policy that actually, if there is clear evidence that some people are doing very well out of it and they are insured for demolition, that they have to contribute towards it. But for others who are really been in this wilderness for a year now, it's almost a year since the cyclone went through. I just want more flexibility, greater understanding of their situation, so that we don't create an even worse situation for them. I mean, people must be under extreme stress at the moment.
Yeah, because one of the points made by I think the mayor and some councillors as well was that also ratepayers are under stress as well because they're going through a cost of living crisis, and you've got some people, single parents, you've got fixed income retirees who can't really afford any increase, and already we're looking at a double-digit increase anyway. It's almost a catch-22 situation there.
That is definitely true. The whole community effectively paying for the damage, be it roads, as well as the buyout proposal, 50 odd million dollars, including the demolition of the buildings, which has totally landed on council. Uh, but their plight, I think, is nothing to compare to those who are now being pushed out of their homes because the homes are unlivable, or they're deemed to be unlivable, and the area is too dangerous to rebuild in. And I think it has to be taken into account. Yeah, there are scales of hardship, and I just think the people who have been flooded out their homes, deemed they can't go back. Um, it needs some tolerance of them to try and help them through this crisis. And at one stage, Dan did mention the Red Cross still have a significant amount of money that they haven't shared out. And I just wonder if that is one of the options we could look at. After all, the money was contributed for the very purpose of helping people that had been badly affected by the cyclone.
So, what do you want to hear from officials? Because clearly, they didn't present a full picture there yesterday. So, what do you want to hear from them?
I want to make absolutely sure we are not making the situation worse for some people and leaving them almost impoverished, because suddenly, on top of everything else, remembering we've discussed with a lot of people and there was no indication they were going to have to pay for demolition, telling them that they now have to pay a significant sum of money towards the demolition. And if if they've been um, compensated well above the actual value of the property at the point of the cyclone, that's fair enough. But a lot of people, I don't think that's true. I just don't think we had enough information to be sure that we were making a wise decision.
Now, Simon, the mayor was saying that the debt level for the council is at 400 million this month, and your interest repayments on that are about 16 million a year. How did we get to this?
Well, I guess for a long time when I was on council, the debt was around 50 million, a little over. Then we had the Opera House, which I think cost, from memory, about 50 million to fix, including the municipal building. We also had the water upgrade, which was nearly 100 million. So immediately we had some significant amounts. Then we got into some quite significant development costs, some of which will eventually recover the money because through development contributions. And then the cyclone comes off. And the cost of the cyclone is just unbelievable, in the hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
And government has not covered all that, and the buyout is a major point. Yeah, that's loaded more than 50 million extra cost onto the Hastings District Council.
Yeah. No, it was good to see almost a full house of councillors at the meeting yesterday. And do you have confidence that you and your colleagues will be able to reach a solution on this that is fair?
Yeah, I think that will happen because the pushback made it clear to our officers that they needed to come back with more information, more convincing information, and a proposal that was indisputably logical.
Yeah. Simon Nixon, thank you so much for your time. It's been good chatting to you, and we'll catch up with you again sometime.
Thanks for your time, Andrew.